Hi, my name's Steve Shipkowski. I'm the Senior Audio Director on Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy game.
Hi, my name is Sébastien Croteau. I'm the final boss at the Monster Factory, and I'm also a metal vocalist.
Okay, so what we'll do is you're gonna give me 2 of these.
Kachuga dogs, noodles, kebabs, and foom pies. What'll it be? Got lots on the grill, local stuff and exotic
Meals from as far away as Magnivore.
So the early vision for the aliens and the creatures probably started around 2017. I knew for Nowhere and for the aliens that there was a great opportunity kind of sitting there on the table waiting for someone to pick it up. The next step was, how do we achieve it? What do we do? How do we get there? Rob Bridget, who's the audio director on Tomb Raider, him and I meet regularly just to talk and catch up on audio in the studio and projects, and he had mentioned to me this guy that he had worked with, Sébastien Croteau, who was part of this Fabrique des Monstres. And I was like, okay, great. And he explained to me that he had used Seb for something in Tomb Raider and he did a great job. So I was like, okay, cool. So I met with Seb and we had a meeting and I explained to him my vision and kind of what I wanted to achieve. The first meeting was probably a half an hour of just throwing references at each other, and it was great because, you know, there's nothing better when you want to work with somebody and you're like, well, it's like this movie, you know, and they look at you and their eyes light up and they're like, I've seen it, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So we talk about many different movies, many sound references that we had together, and especially one, the famous Star Wars cantina scene, where you can hear all those different languages, background noises that are alien or freaky or bizarre. If I get to work on something like this, and this guy has this vision right at the beginning, it's gonna be one hell of a trip. And it was so amazing because I remember Steve was showing me all these visuals from the aliens and the creature, and I was amazed first as the look.
It was a great first meeting. I knew he was the guy that was going to click for this gig because just on our meeting I could tell that he had the same level of creativity and passion that he wanted to bring, and I could see like he looked at this as like, this is a great opportunity, it's Marvel. And not only that, I think he really enjoyed the fact that I brought him in very early in the creative process. As he was explaining to me, up until that point, he's usually brought in, you know, last minute and like, okay guy, here, go in front of the mic and do a sound for this creature on the screen, you know? And of course he can do it, but what you can bring to the table when you're given time to prepare and be creative and try numerous things, I think is going to always give you a better result.
Eu grilo? Eu grilo! I makriti nokti! Eske skride Wolfra!
Hello, Chicago.
Hello, yeah. Hello, Chicago.
Awesome session.
We'll bring hell down from above.
You know, I'd love for people to see how much work went into this. I mean, there's no way to show it all, but you know, when I think once we had defined all the alien languages and Seb and I would sit there and create like, this is the past history of them, this is what the race is like, are they peaceful, are they this?
Of course, I started looking more closely at the aliens and creature, and especially their face, their body type, their race, and if that creature is peaceful, if they're a warrior race, you know, all those elements can modify what you do in terms of sound. So the first thing I did is really look at, for the different voice technique, which were the easiest vowels and consonants to pronounce. Like for some, so with this voice technique, there's a lot of W's. So the Hellraiser is an alien race and it's a warrior race. So the language and the how to pronounce it had to be from a kind of military background way of speaking with, really authoritative language, something with, for me, like it was a lot of K, like the letter K. Halka, Kehulka, Oskra. Was really important to find that tone for their warrior race. One of the letters that is associated with reptiles is, of course, the letter S. So there's a lot of Saska, Sita, Sa.
It was an amazingly fun process, like for a creative person, every day where I would see the emails coming in where Seb would have all these attachments and demos. It was always an exciting day where I was like, okay, what am I going to hear today? And in the end, I think we really defined enough of the variety of voices in that it really gave a nice spectrum across the audio palette.
I don't even want to remember last night. As far as I'm concerned, nothing ever happened. Oh, I can wait. They're gonna tear this place up.
Okay.
Oh, I can't wait. We're gonna tear this place up. Alright, let's get our luggage and check into the hotel so we can drop off our stuff before exploring. I can't wait. We're gonna tear this place up.
Tatiawesum.
Tatiawesum.
And it has to be short.
Tatiawesum.
Perfect. And the last part, Kekupawa. And the pawa, but in English it's but you look so strange. So Kekupawa.
Kekupawa.
Pawa.
Pawa.
Kekupawa.
Kekupawa.
Having worked with Seb for about 6 months at this point, we had a good idea of where we were going, the voices we were going to need, and now it was up to Seb to kind of go through his troupe of people. We've got our gang, and I think it was maybe about, 12 to 16 voice actors, and they're all death metal singers and performers, very talented group. So he was like, we're going to do a Zoom announcement. So I said, okay. For me, it was just the best. It was almost like watching your kids opening up Christmas gifts, because the faces drop like, like what?
À mon gars, parce que
Ah, c'est beau. Merci, Steve. Oh my God, merci.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Those moments when they happen, they're very rare, but they're very genuine, and you can really feel that there's a human connection happening there.
A man on the run, he's a ghost, he is no one.
Ulzek sesku makra.
Ulzek seske u makra. Ulzek seske u makra.
Ulzek seske umakra. Kahol yetelustek.
Te yelustek. Kahol te yelustek.
Kahol te yelustek.
When you record whatever you're doing, monster sound or just voices, you have this microphone and you have to stand right in front of it. Of course, you can use your body, you can move, but you're limited in the way you can use your body. And with the special helmet that we had, we were able to really move and to really incorporate the creature physically. And then, of course, when we can do that, the sound that we can produce are always more realistic.
Wendigo!
That is so badass. And now we're going to try it with more mouthy things. And then it's vigorous because you're in comeback, and then you want bring me their heads kind of stuff.
Ekma oksra.
Kewa.
Kewa.
Mikro kiui. Kira. Miso kiui te.
So another attack. So same thing. So
Okay,
same kind of
but deeper.
intent, but deeper. Perfect.
What's that? What's in the box? Looks like a bush. A talking tree. That's new. Alright, get going. Before I change my mind.
So after many, many recording sessions, and then, even for the creatures, we took all the sounds that they did, we would give that to the sound designers, and having these great vocal source files really helped them, as opposed to sitting through a sound library and just trying to find what's my bass sound going to be. We already had that. So that was extremely helpful, and without a doubt, it definitely helped us lift the quality bar for the creatures and the stuff that we wanted to give that extra, just that extra something to give it a bit of an original feel. We wanted to try and make our creatures sound ours. For anyone who thinks like these actors just walked in and kind of riffed on the spot on the mic, completely not. Seb was directing them. He knew exactly the line in English, the intention, and it had to match that and it had to work.
For me, this is the way any sci-fi movie or video game should be done. Every sound, weapon sound, the soundtrack, the score, the main voice actor, and even the smaller voice actor, which we've done in the game, they've taken such a detailed attention on everything that when you play this game, you are just immersed in this whole universe of the Guardian of the Galaxy.
In the end, I couldn't be happier with how it came out. I feel, it definitely hit exactly the vision that a year and a half earlier I was hoping to achieve, which is always amazing when that happens. And again, it's a credit to surrounding yourself with the right people.
It's an honor for us to have worked on this game. So if you have not bought this game by now,
Go get it now!